So obviously for us, we've been brought up in this. We've known nothing other than training from the first day that either one of us were hired. I remember, my first days coming in and going to training. Lewis was there, 4 days a week. Every day I was there doing 30 minutes of training every single. So this for us is something we've been doing. I've been here for 3 years. Andy's been here for 2 now. We've done this every Monday through Friday, every Monday, Thursday, 9 to 9:30, religiously. So we've overcome. We've seen the things you guys do. We haven't had to train up new people on stuff. We sit here and do all that stuff. So we've kind of elevated it to, I'd say, a different level. We talked about this on the phone call. We have a very structured schedule that we put out every 6 weeks. It's based very much off of the GE manual. And when Lewis asked for documents and stuff, that's really our Bible. We use the GE manual. We use the GE University. We go through that stuff, and that's where we find our stuff. That's what we're taught as a company. We're taught on a very strict set of stuff. So we use that very religiously. We may deviate from it, like you were saying with your phone script. You change stuff in there that works and doesn't, and we completely do that too. We're not dead to the rights of the stuff that's in there, but we are very dead to the rights on our schedule. We get together 6 weeks before. It's a 6-week training schedule, and go over exactly what we're going to be talking about. For us, what we've noticed is the more that me and Andy sit up there and talk, we're there every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the team starts to get disinterested in hearing the same thing over and over again. So we've, implemented using the salespeople. We use our salespeople for almost every training. They're involved. They start the training. You can see if I have this in the Dropbox. We have probably about 8 salespeople that we trust privileged at our campus that do the training every morning from 9 to 9:30. We're there. We're interjecting stuff. We're making sure that the wrong things don't get said. We just had a meeting that Lewis was talking about on Friday where some stuff brought up. We were the store that wasn't interested in. They asked you for the finance question. But that's on me. I was wrong about that. And
I wasn't throwing anybody under the bus.
I'll throw myself under the bus. It's not a problem. It's it's a good meeting. We learned, and I'm glad to hear it works for you guys because we're gonna do a better job at it. But maybe not always having the salespeople up there. We need more manager intervention too. I think sometimes it's a mistake that I think I've made in the last 6 or 12 weeks doing this. Salespeople are fantastic. They get up there. We got the guys that sell the most cars, the guys that are leading the store. But at the same time, maybe the way they do it isn't the right way to train the other 20 people in the store. So I had a sales manager, Andy's guy, Kevin. Say that one of my guys that wanted to train said he was throwing out garbage, and I was at that training. I didn't do a good enough job of probably leveling to what we need to do as a company, as an organization, so I put that on me. With that being said, by putting these guys in these situations where they can train every morning, it's the people that are most successful in our company. We got Dylan, Josh, Alex, Ryan, the guys that have been there for a couple of years, that have done all these things, that are selling 20, 25 cars a month. When we put them up in front of the guys and they train on role plays, overcoming objections, delivering a pencil, doing all that stuff, the guys that are on the sales floor that are out there listening to where you guys are right now, they take more than that than from sitting here listening to me talk for half an hour on how to deliver a pencil or how to do it. I think it's been a huge success for us to do it that way. We're still, narrowing it down, how to do it the right way, what the trainings are. But I think it's been a very big success. And that being said too, and I said this in the call, that when we put these guys up in front of these guys to train every week, week and out, I know who my next sales managers are going to be. I know who my next finance managers are going to be, and it's going to be these guys. But now they're getting chances to lead this team on a smaller level right now, just with training, building up that next step, building up that first F&I role, building up when they get to the desk. And it gives the guys that are out there listening to them more rapport, right? More understanding, more growth with these guys. So we're moving the path along, for everyone in the company in the right direction. I think it's been very successful with the sales guys doing it. They've taken an ownership, not just at 9 to 9:30 in the mornings. You'll see, I sent give you a text, right before Thanksgiving. We had one of our sales guys, Dylan. It's 5:30 on a Friday. There's not a soul in sight. GMC's got 3 new hires. Kia's got 2, and Dylan's got these 6 guys pulled around a pencil, sitting there going over pencils. He could be on the internet making phone calls. He's our top guy. He can make more money. But no, he's got these 6 brand new salespeople. I didn't say a word to him to go do it. I just walked up and I was like,
You remember what you said on that
check this
text?
out.
Because I kept it for a long time.
I don't.
He had a visual of them training, and at the bottom he had winning.
Winning, yes, win. I say win a lot. Winners win. That's what me and Andy say a lot.
Winning.
And I know, obviously, you guys are still learning, going through the training, figuring that stuff out. But I challenge you guys to get that next step, to get your sales team involved. I keep hearing you guys say, your team is so seasoned. Your team is so seasoned. Our teams aren't. I mean, my most seasoned guy in my team at Kia is 2 years and 1 month on the job. And besides, your 2 guys have been there forever. I mean, you're probably right around that same number too. So we see a lot of turnover. I'm not sure why that is. That's been our biggest challenge. Anyone has any reason why that would be, I'd be curious to know. But I feel like doing this is tightening our team. It's teaching the new people better. Like you said, we're not throwing anybody out in the ocean. We have every job shadow for 6 weeks before they can even take it up. If you're new on our lot, you're sitting there for 6 weeks with the guys that are good. We want you talking with the good guys, learn that way, and then we'll let you off the floor. So I'm taking all the time talking.
No,
Sorry,
you're
feel
good.
free.
You're
And he's
good.
a better talker than I am.
No, not
He's
at
a
all.
former coach, so.
Not at all. No, I mean, I do come from a coaching background. Just to back up Ryan on the training aspect, and obviously you guys, most of you have been doing this far longer than I have, but just a big believer in investing in the people that are basically earning your paycheck. And so something that I've learned quick is how much time or how little time at the start that I spent individually training with certain people. And the group training is separate, but individually training is such a time-consuming thing as a sales manager, and it's not something I don't think any of us do enough of. But actually going out and doing a role play one-on-one on the showroom floor, you're dead at 5:30 p.m. Take somebody out there and spend the half an hour making them do a serious role play with you. It's super uncomfortable for them, especially because you're the manager, and they don't like that. But every person I've done it with has gotten significantly better. And I'm trying to view everything that I do and all the people that we work with as an investment. And I think that that's not easy to do all the time because, like Ryan said, it's hard. Sometimes it's really hard to keep the people there, whether the pay isn't there, whether they don't work hard enough, whether they find out that this is more work than they wanted. But the more time I've spent with the people, like for example, Alex has been working for me for 4 months now. He's led the board every single month, and he was the person that, to my fault, honestly, I haven't done it to everybody, but I knew that he was going to be great. I just knew it. As soon as I hired him, so I spent all this time with him up front, and sure enough, he's selling 13 to 18 cars a month for me every single month. But he followed all the processes, went through the steps. But I challenge everybody to view your people as an investment. One of the things that really has nothing to do, I guess, with training, but something that I've kind of implemented and say all the time to my people in selling when we're trying to overcome objections and things like that, is sell the next step. Don't try to sell the car, sell the next step in the process. And if you're not doing that now, I mean, that is something that has made such a big difference for us at our store. Is why is this an advantage to the customer to go to the next step? Why is this? What is the reason that I go to the next step with you? Instead of, man, I gotta sell a car, I gotta sell a car, I gotta sell a car. No, you don't. It's one step at a time. The next step in the process is what's gonna be the end result of selling a car. So, just backing up, I think that we do put a lot of training. I mean, Ryan is fantastic as a leader. I follow his lead, and we have 3-ring binders. I don't know if anybody does that, but we have 3-ring binders we bought for everybody, and they're required to bring them to the morning trainings, and they've got a 3-hole punch in there, and they got a new sheet of paper, and they've got a little binder that they keep on them. Now, not everybody does that all the time. That's something that we need to do better at it, and actually punishing people for not doing that. But it's actually really cool because if you go back, like Gibby and Lewis talk about all the time, you hardly retain anything that someone's saying when you're just standing up here talking forever. But if you're writing stuff down, we're getting everybody to write things down. We'll stop in the middle, we'll cut people off and say, guys, why are you not writing this down? Right? Because if you're not trying something new, you're not progressing. So, we have 3-ring binders. On whatever topic it is, we go through usually the entire process of a step to the sale, so meet and greet to the end. But and then just keep it and go back and reference it, because at the end of the day, someone else is saying something that's going to help you and make you better. And so I think that having those 3-ring binders has made a difference for us, and not everyone takes it seriously, but the people who care usually do, and that's made a difference for us.
Yeah, and for us, back to the schedule too, I think this is a big thing. I mean, Andy was saying we do, and obviously, you guys you're starting out differently. You're just spending a month on phone training. You're finding out the spots that are great for you guys. Once you guys, have got all that training implemented in, and you've got everyone that's gone through it for time, I think this is a big deal. Our last one was, was meet and greet interview, test drive the numbers, objections, the write-up, what it looks like, delivering a pencil, after they've agreed to buy, time like that. So really walk them through the whole thing, each part, show them what it looks like. We go out on the GMC showroom floor. We'll deliver pencils for half an hour. We'll split the team up between 2. We'll go on the desks and we'll sit here and do pencils and have the guys come back with objections and stuff like that. So role play is a big part. I think we've implemented a lot more of that too. We've really tried to get the guys to talk in the meetings. And you guys have mentioned it too, have spoke so far, but the number one way these guys are going to grow is if they're actually doing it, right? And we can sit up here and talk all we want, but the more we get them in the actual actions, overcoming the objections, going through that stuff, delivering that pencil time after time after time. I mean, these are the practice reps. That's when they can make mistakes. That's when they know what they're doing. But when they get in front of the sale or the customers, and we're just getting reps then, we're losing. We're losing if that's when we're getting our first reps. They've got to get those reps in beforehand to make them more successful at what they're doing.
Yeah, creating leaders. I mean, everyone in this room is a leader, and we all came from from somewhere somebody helped us, meet that road. And creating leaders is so important because on the showroom floor, as you guys know, there's 1,000 things we've got to do that have nothing to do with selling a car. And so it's so nice when you've got 2 or 3 people on your showroom floor who are those leaders, who are taking people under their wings, who are doing the pencils with them like Dylan does for Ryan down there all the time. And we need to create more leaders because ultimately those are the ones that are writing our mortgage checks at the end of the day. So.
All right, well, we are at 11 minutes. They got 4 minutes for questions. Who's got any questions for them?
I guess I have a question. You're like designated leaders for the floor. You said that you naturally kind of show themselves by their training, things like that. When identifying those people, I guess, you have certain people that want to work with those certain guys, and so you kind of pair them together, or you just naturally let that process happen, or I guess how do you implement that?
I would say naturally the process happen. It's not so much identifying, you just know. I just know, we can tell. I can close my eyes. I can walk on your guys' floor and probably talk to your sales team for a day and know who your leaders are. And for us, they're just invested in the company and what they do. It's not asking them to do it, it's just they're doing it. They're out spending that time. And after somebody's done that for 6 months and there was a new hire that came out, he's been there 6 months, well now he's taking that step, he's doing that stuff. So we got a guy named Jace, we hired him in March, and Dylan and Josh would train him up, and now we're 6 months in. Now it's Jace. He's training up the new guys. We just hired Dom and Jacob. He's out there. So I think the leaders, I'm sure all you guys know. Leaders, when they step forward, you can see the leader standing in the room. You know who that guy is. So it's not hard for us to identify him. And it's even less hard, with the culture we've developed with stuff like that. We're really family heavy. We're really culture heavy down there, and we've got the guys. They are bought into what our idea of business is. So. It hasn't been much of a challenge. It hasn't been any challenge, to be honest, to get us to that point. So
you guys say you sit down a few weeks ahead of time, go over the schedule, go through it. When you have some of these sales staff that are helping you with that training, they sit down there with you, so they have an idea what you're wanting them to train on and how you want them to train?
Well, that's a good point. That's actually a thought I had last night, is we should have some form of a training council. If it's me and Andy getting there every 6 weeks, why am I not having... And you're right. Why are these 7 guys not sitting down with me and going over what did you feel your trainings were successful with? What weren't they? So no, we're not. It's really, I get feedback from the trainings. I get feedback from the guys. But if I could get more feedback from just me and Andy sitting there, from the people that are out there actually doing it, I think we'd be more successful. Maybe the trainings were more dialed in, or they'd have more input on what it is. So no, not to enough effect. But it's funny you asked that, because I actually thought about doing it last night. So going forward, instead of just me and Andy every 6 weeks, I'm going to have the guys that are actually in these positions doing this stuff, and we can get in there one Saturday, an hour before, and actually go over this stuff better. So, starting on the 7th of January, we will be having all these guys doing that stuff, and I'll let you guys know how that goes, but I'm sure it will go well.
And I'll throw in something that should apply to everybody in here. One of the challenges, and Ryan mentioned some of the turnover that's happened at that campus, and I'll be frank, I think a big piece of the turnover had to do with the managers that were sitting on the desk at the time. And that there was a disconnect between what was expected and we had one of our managers at the Kia store, Dan, was very connected, and that store was growing rapidly. And now we have at both desks, we have managers that feel a connection and an imperative towards training salespeople and towards empowering and towards letting these salespeople be successful, and that are actively involved in the coaching. And I got to say that if your store, if you are a trainer, might sound bad, but there were a couple years, 3 years of almost brain damage of training, where I knew a lot of the times where the shoulder or the bearing, the weight was on me to do a lot of the training at that campus, in addition to some of the other stuff. And it makes all the difference in the world when every one of you are bought into the idea that it's not just a 30-minute deal and then it's done until it's talked about again, but that it becomes a culture. And these 2 guys, like everything that they're saying, I'll come back now, and I'm not in the store a lot, but I'll come back and I will frequently see exactly what they're saying. I'll come walking through their store, and there will be salespeople sitting down with other salespeople going over pencils, and they'll be, he's not just talking, it's happening. And how much has the Kia store grown over the last year as far as new Kia sales?
In the last 2 years, we've probably almost 40% up.
40%. And the GMC, since you've taken over, is up
And what, GMC, 170?
Yeah, they're up like 170%. I mean, just insane growth that store's had now that they've got some people that are on the desk.
I'm not sure if
that are-
that's a good thing or it was just that bad.
Well, it just means that you're gonna have some really big, it means you'll have some big numbers to hit next year to
Next
keep
year's gonna
making
be tough
money.
for you.
But anyways,
No doubt about
any other questions? We're at 15 minutes now.
The one thing I'd like to say is Lewis started the habit of training. These
Yeah.
guys took it to another level.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is all, sorry, I didn't cut you
No,
off.
and the whole idea is, if you don't have religion, none of this shit's gonna work. You have to truly say, I do want to invest in my people, I do want to invest in teaching people. And we can all sit here and nod our head, but at the end of the day, your job is to coach and make your players better. And these guys deserve a lot of credit, and I love your deal with the winning, where they've got people doing this. It's like Lewis and I saying, we can't do all this, neither can you at your store. When you start investing in your people and have them get involved, what are they gonna do? And I was saying, if you want somebody to learn something, what should you have them do? Teach it.
Yeah.
Then they'll be prepared.
Yeah, and if you've got dead weight, man, I feel like I had a lot of that when I first took over the store. Move on. I mean, honestly, and that sounds harsh, but you know, if you don't like if they're not self-starters, if they're not motivated to do everything themselves, and they want to come in and ask for every single thing they do, and I can't handle that. I mean, get out. It really is. It's that simple for me. You know, I'm a pretty cut and dry person, but I mean, if somebody's not pulling their weight, cut them. I mean, and this, as sucky as that sounds, I mean, it's worked for me. So, you know, it goes back to coaching, I guess, for me. But, you know, I think self-starters are everything in this. That's why all of you are sitting in this room. That's why we're standing up here, is because we're self-starters. You know, Brian helped me a lot through the process of this, but I wanted to win just as bad or worse, I felt like, than he did. So that's why we're sitting where we're sitting. And obviously, you know, thank you guys again for having us here. This is great.